Hey guys, just a quick heads up. This video is all about learning. It's not legal advice or anything like that, okay? So, we're going to talk about President Joe Biden's move to forgive folks who got into trouble for marijuana-related stuff, and how this ties up with the 1994 crime bill. This bill was all about trying to curb crime, but it ended up putting a lot of non-violent people and disadvantaged communities behind bars for longer. Biden did play a big role in passing this law, and now he's pardoning marijuana offenses. So we have to ask, is this just a ploy, or are we going back and forth about whether this is right or wrong? We're going to break down what this pardon really means, like what's going to happen to people who were charged before. Is this a hint that the government might see drug offenses differently and make changes to marijuana laws? We'll also look at how this pardon might change how people see marijuana use and how it could help folks and what it could mean for future laws. Are we moving towards not treating drug use as a crime anymore? Let's get into all these super interesting topics and see what these big moves might mean. Stick around as we get into the nitty-gritty of Biden's marijuana pardons. So, we've been talking about how President Biden's got some heat for the crime bill, right? Now, let's take a look at how he's attempting to wipe the slate clean for folks who've gotten in trouble for just smoking a little pot. This isn't just business as usual, it's a big shift in how America's dealing with personal pot use, but not about selling or dealing it. What's it all mean? Well, it looks like Biden's trying to think again about how we punish drug use, aiming for a fairer way of doing things. It's not just talk, it's a real step towards fixing past mistakes and shaping the laws on drugs for the future. People are reacting all kinds of ways. Some are cheering, saying it's about time, while others are side-eyeing, saying it's just politics and a political move for his re-election. There's a whole lot of discussion on whether this will lead to more changes, like no longer making it a crime to have a little weed or making bigger changes in policy. The naysayers think it doesn't really tackle the problems with drug crimes and unfairness in the police. But the folks who are all for it see this as laying the groundwork for more changes to come. The real impact of this will come down to how they carry it out and how it actually helps those it's meant for. This is a big moment in the history of drug laws. Last time we chatted about President Biden ditching some weed charges and how that's shaking things up for regular folks and the whole society. Now we're going to chat about another biggie, the 1994 crime bill. This old law really shook things up. It brought in new rules like 3-strike laws, mandatory minimums, and some new federal crimes. This all went down when the country was dealing with crime and safety issues. Interesting thing is, this law ties in with the president's power to pardon. This power can make criminal problems go away for some people. But the link between the pardon and the crime bill is way deeper than you first think. This old law's tough rules often meant longer jail time for small crimes. So, a pardon, even though seldomly used, became a way out for folks stuck in this tough legal system. The link between the pardon and the crime bill might not seem that big at first, but if we dig into their past and how they affect things today, we see they are pretty much tied together. So, the goal for today is to get into the nitty-gritty of these tangled issues, get people thinking, and bring up stuff people usually miss. Getting the full picture of these big legal and society matters will give us a wider view. So, come along as we pick apart how these two big laws are linked socially and legally, and get to grips with how they've left their mark on the broad tapestry of American history. After taking a look at how this moment might be tied to the crime bill, we're going to have a chat about what this could mean for the future of weed laws. This moment could shake things up big time for weed laws, and a lot of people are starting to take notice. It could be the spark that sets off a whole new way of thinking about weed, which is getting more and more attention these days. But change isn't easy, right? There's a lot of political, societal, and economic hurdles we gotta jump over. The things we gotta change are huge, like stopping punishing people for possession and figuring out how to tax it. And each of these things will have unique effects. There's a lot of stuff people are arguing about, like wiping clean past convictions, regulating weed shops, and pushing for its use in medicine. These shifts will have a big impact on society and the economy, and there's a lot of debate about whether they're good or bad. There's a lot of different opinions on decriminalization and legalization. If this moment happens, it could lead to the feds decriminalizing and legalizing weed all over the country. This could change future laws in a big way. We're at a big turning point that could totally change how we see this drug. the moment might be a shift from punishing people to managing it better. So stick around with us as we dive headfirst into these changes and all the complicated chat around them in our next exciting segment. In our last chat, we dug into what could be next for weed laws. Up next, we're asking, is Biden's pardon a real game changer, or is it just a day late and a dollar short? This brings up the question about how we see justice, suggesting that there might be another way to look at it, with the answer maybe showing up in tomorrow's headlines. These choices don't just change the rules, they also carve out new routes. The effects of this extend beyond party lines, putting a spotlight on how important law and social fairness are. It makes us look closer at the tug-of-war between punishment and second chances. The possible fallout from this could be a game changer, affecting not just the person who got the pardon, but all of us. It might kickstart a rethink of the legal system, setting the stage for laws that are more in tune with people and society. And finally, if you're into the messy mix of politics, law, and social fairness, why not join our gang? We want to help you get your head around these tricky topics. Forget to drop your 2 cents in the comments. To keep up with the latest, subscribe and hit the bell. This way, you won't miss a beat on how Biden's "my bad" might shake up future court decisions and why it matters at the crossroads of politics.